Hi, everybody. Hello. Welcome. Welcome. It's time for another craft hour with Pink Fresh Studios. Hello to each of you and our Pink Fresh Studio audience. You know that we like to check in with you and make sure that you're seeing and hearing me correctly. So make sure in the comments you take a minute to let us know hello. We have so many friends that are joining that make me feel so surrounded. Thanks for being in the Pink Fresh Studio audience. We've got Helen back for another week. Helen, you've been with me every single show. And Sin, you got off those beaches in Hawaii to come visit us tonight. I appreciate that. Leah, welcome. A lot of friends out west. Of course, my good friend Wendy, who is so supportive. Thank you for joining. Welcome to another craft hour with Pink Fresh Studio. I'm your host, Jeff Lindberg. Hello to Linda. So glad that you're here. Geraldine, welcome. It is just a fantastic part of my week to be able to see each and every one of you and have a little bit of fun with Pink Fresh Studio products. Tonight we've got another great episode called Living in the Gray, and what a pleasure it is. I'm so glad that all of our friends are here. Holly is here. Holly, thank you so much for your amazing card. Pauline, hello and welcome. Avra hasn't missed an episode as well, so I'm so glad to have you. I'm glad that the audio and the video is working correctly. Another week has gone by and it's time for us to have another amazing craft hour. Tonight's episode, Living in the Gray. You know, tonight we're getting ready to do one of my most cherished moments with our designer, Heather Hoffman. She, of course, hosts a show, and her show on Pink Fresh featured this technique. And I've got to tell you, I've been thinking about doing it ever since I saw her do it. In its truest form, it's pretty simple. It is monochromatic tone on tone, right? A technique that we see all the time. Hi, Natasha. But do we? I think that we need to see more of it. If you're a fan of mine, you know that I love clean and simple. And Heather's technique tonight is an example that it can be done right, elegant, and still look like an amazing pink, fresh product. So without any further ado, let's go over to my amazing guest designer for the evening. You know, they come on board to make sure that I'm hanging in there and doing things right and maybe learning something along the way. Please help me welcome tonight's guest and, of course, a leader at Pink Fresh Studio, Miss Heather Hoffman. Hi, Heather.
Hi, good evening.
How are you? Let me get your audio up for me. It is working for the studio audience, but I had muted it.
Perfect.
I had muted it for myself. The good news is everybody's heard you, which is awesome. How are you doing, my friend? It's round
I'm
2. You came back for more.
yes.
How is your show going? And remind everybody when they can see your show.
Well, other than one big YouTube flop with technical difficulties, we're resuming that hopefully tomorrow. With let's see, I always have to get the times right. 1 p.m. Pacific time, which then would be what does that make that? 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'll be fingers crossed that goes well tomorrow, and then back on Facebook Lives on Thursday mornings, 10 a.m. and Pacific time and
Awesome.
1 p.m. Eastern time.
Well, while I'm very glad to be back
So
wearing my mouse ears and at work, one of my biggest regrets is I don't get to see your show as often. So I was thinking about one of my favorite shows that you did, which was the inspiration of why I reached out to you to do this technique. Do you remember doing this lovely tone-on-tone monochromatic? And have you done it a lot before you taught it to the Pink Fresh Studio audience before?
I tend to use more colors really, and that one was just kind of on a whim. I think I'd seen a bunch of cards that Leah had done with some grayscale and some gray, and it kind of just inspired me to pull all my grays out. And then I was just playing, and I really liked how it came out. So yeah, it's not something I always think of, but I kind
Yeah.
of liked how it came out. So it was kind
And
of fun.
speaking of the amazing Leah, Leah joins us as our virtual moderator for the evening. She's holding it down from Mission Base, so make sure that you say hi to Leah. She joins us and will be playing along with us. And don't forget that the more you answer in the comments, the better chances you have to enjoy a $15 gift card to Pink Fresh Studio. So tonight's episode, Living in the Gray. Heather, you wore the most amazing top for tonight's. Was it intentional for you to be in a gray top?
Only because I was too hot in my t-shirt and I had to change. And as I was picking, I went, that's perfect. So, and it's brand new and I hadn't worn it yet. So why not?
Well, I think that you look lovely. I think the studio audience would agree. I did not have gray, nor did I think to do that. I should have. So it looks like Leah's ready. It looks like you're ready. I'm going to take you off camera and put you on mute so that you can get your desktop ready. And I'll talk
Sounds
to
good.
the audience for a minute. We'll see you in a second. All right, my friends, that's our friend Heather. She joins us tonight A designer joins me every Monday night here on Craft Hour as a way to teach me and hopefully teach you some great ways to use PinkFresh Studio products. And tonight we decided to use all of those amazing gray tones that are available through PinkFresh Studio. We're going to be going through those in just a minute, but tonight is about stamp layering as well as building a dramatic card, clean and simple, with just some very simple colors. Don't forget, we'd love for you to connect with us. And we have a big program announcement for you. While Heather's getting ready, I'll tell you that PinkFresh Studio and myself have decided we're going to do a little programming change to make sure that you stay interested and connected with us. So starting this next Monday, we'll be taking an every other Monday trip to Craft Hour. So that means that next Monday, we're not going to have a show. The Monday after that, we'll be back. And of course, we'll give you plenty of updates. And I can't wait to build a bigger audience, but also connect with other designers on a schedule that may work a little bit better for more of our amazing PinkFresh Studio designers. We'll talk more about that at the end of the show. But for now, we need to get right to the project. So we're going to go to our desktops. Miss Heather, are you ready? Are you feeling good? Awesome. Well, let me share my desktop as well, and let's review some of the products we'll be using tonight. Tell us where we're heading. Look at that beautiful card that you made.
Whipped this one out this morning. We kind of talked about it, so I had a little idea, and I had enough time to kind of put together a quick sample. So last time I used a different set, but I love some of our layering sets. So I thought I'd do one of my all-time favorite layered bouquet, which I love that it only has 4 layers, but it's really pretty, and it worked really well with the grayscale. And then this really popular new set that just came out last week from scrapbook.com. It's an exclusive with scrapbook.com. It's designed by PinkFresh. So if you're looking for that one, I used it on last week's live, but they're just beautiful, super intricate words that are just fun for cards and memory keeping and everything else. So I'm really excited about that one. And then I couldn't resist using this background on the back there, and there's a little more on there, but those are the main ones.
Sure. And so I too brought my new scrapbook.com sentiments. Talk about an array of options for you. Look at all the ones that are available. It is almost another builder. You can build lots of phrases. I also brought out 2 cling stamps. I thought that I could also try this one with the technique that Heather's showing. This is the floral diamond, and then of course diamond tiles, but look how great that diamond tiles looks. And then we have a couple of options. I'm going to go ahead and stick to what my teacher is telling me, and I'm going to use the layered bouquet. But we were also thinking that the Believe in Yourself, which is an amazing builder set as well, could use this monochromatic look as well. But again, tonight, I'm going to be joining the teacher and using this one. And then, of course, we can't do it without some PinkFresh Studio inks to get that grayscale that we were interested in as we live in gray tonight. We have Misty Coast, Rocky Slope, Metropolis, and Licorice. And of course, PinkFresh makes it perfectly easy for you by giving you everything you need. All right, teacher, what do I need to start doing first?
Okay, well, I was just going to show I had this out since you were talking about other sets. I also used, earlier today I was playing, I didn't use it on my card, but I stamped out Modern Layered Florals is another one that works really great for that. So
awesome. This is a really
figure that out since I had it there. Okay, so if anyone's come to my lives, they know probably that I use this technique quite a bit on layered or stamps with die cutting. I like to kind of get a head start and die cut my image. I did that ahead so you didn't have to listen to my die cut machine. I still have it popped in the thing here. But then I keep the negative space and I use that to line up my stamp in my Misty, my stamp positioner. And it just makes it a lot easier to get it all rolling together. So easier to line them up, especially with all the different layers. So
well, I will listen to you. Anything that makes it just a little easier, get this perfect, right?
Yep. And I forgot ahead of time. Hold on, let me grab. I usually grab a little just sheet of like printer paper or something that I can put behind there. And then I can do kind of a test stamp to make sure that I'm correct and it's all lined up like I want. It's kind of a good foolproof trick to make sure it's working the way you want. So
okay.
All right, so how about we start with the big flowers? I've done it in a few different orders, but I feel like the flowers are a good spot to start on this one.
Okay.
And you kind of can line it up. It just makes it really easy to get it bumped into place in that die cut.
You're right.
And usually I put my head in there a little more, but I'm trying not to show you the back of my head.
Well, do you know that I've never used this way of kind of helping the scenario here? And you're right, it does kind of make it a lot easier. We love any good way to make it easier, right? All right, so I need to now pick it up with the positioning tool, right?
Yep. Pick it up with the lid.
Okay. And I'm going to remove my grid, right?
Remove the grid.
Meaning my die cut, or do I keep the die cut in?
Oh, you already have the die cut in there? Yeah. Usually what I do, so I pull it out and just line up that negative and then put a scrap piece of paper behind, and then I can, I'll just show you. You don't have to. I didn't do it on all of the one I did earlier at all. But if you're unsure about how it's lining up, I'll just test stamp it in that back. And that way I can see, yep, it's lined up perfect. Now I can set my die cut piece in there, and I know it's going to be perfectly lined up.
Got it. I'm going to live dangerously, I think.
There you go. Like I said, the one I did earlier, I did fine without doing that. But it's kind of like I said, if you're not as confident with stamping it, or you just want to make really sure, then that's kind of a good trick.
Now, forgive me, again, I'm so sorry to be dense, but am I stamping on this die cut?
Yes, on the die cut piece. Correct.
Got it. So I puzzle piece it back in.
Yep.
Okay. And now I stamp on top of that.
Yep.
So that's why I don't need to take the magnet off, because I'm going to keep this in. Got it. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. And this is also really great if you want to make like a set of cards or something, because you can have all your die cuts. You only have to line it up once, and then you can go boom, 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 stamp. You can do all different colors, same colors, but it's all lined up once, and you don't have to reline it up every time.
Got it. What gray are we using?
I started with the lightest on that one, so the Misty Coast.
Great.
The grays are nice because it's really obvious which one's lighter and which one's darker.
Unless you're Leah, and then she just knows. She just like has like a sixth sense about it. She's like, I know all of
She always knows. Yeah.
Leah saved the day last night. She knew her slimline numbers for me, like you said she would. I phoned a friend.
Oh yeah. Like I said, some of those I have to look up. I can't just, and every time she's just like, oh, it's this.
Leah, I'm telling you. All right. Now, I noticed that you took the foam mouse pad out, but it's making it a little harder to stamp, but...
Oh, no, I kept my foam in. I think I slipped an extra piece behind, so I moved it a little bit in my...
Oh.
It's still in there, though.
Okay, let's put that back in there, then. The white threw me off.
I'll take it out again when I do the background stamp, because that, you got to take it out. But...
Okay, got it. All right, so folks, I'm going to do a third stamp because I don't know if I was getting the best impression. So, Heather, I'm still on color 1, but
that's okay.
I'm gonna catch up to you. All right. So we're done.
The second one lined up there, so I went ahead and stamped the next layer there on the flowers.
Got it. Can you show us the next layer just for me?
Yes, the next one is on the stamp set. It's that top left.
Okay.
Right up there. And when you've got the base of the flowers, that one lines up super duper easy because you just make sure it's down at the bottom of all of the other florals, and you kind of can't go wrong.
Well, I don't know about that.
And Leah said she worked on those inks for a year. That's why she knows them so well.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Except it's not just the inks Leah knows, that it's, like I said, it's anything. Like she can look at something and go, oh, it's this set and that set, and she just knows the names. And some of them I'm like, what was the name of that one again?
All right, I'm struggling a little bit on this piece. So I'm on this one, showing you on Skype real quick, right?
Yep.
And then
so look at the biggest one goes on that top right flower.
Oh.
The way it's aligned on the background is exactly the way that it lines up on that stamp, if that makes sense.
Yes. All right, friends, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see Mr. Lindberg make all kinds of terrifying mistakes. All right. So I'm going to pick it up. And you want me to switch to the rocky slope?
Yep, that's correct. Okay. So I did the flowers with the 2 lightest and then the leaves with the 2 darkest. Okay.
It's very exciting.
And then,
looking a little.
Oh, go ahead.
It's looking a little green on your channels, people. But I promise, Heather and I are doing grays.
And the other thing too is, I always say this because if you're not familiar with dye inks when you use them, when you first stamp them, comparatively to once they dry, they almost look a little blotchy and splotchy. But once they sink into the paper and dye, they're going to smooth out. They're going to lighten a little bit. So whatever the color looks like when you first stamp it will be a little bit softer. And that's just a property of dye inks and how they work.
Yeah, in fact, that first layer is already doing a fantastic job of catching up to itself.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so I'm pulling that back out, and now I'm going to set my third, which is the stems or the leaves?
The stems, down at the bottom right there.
This one should be pretty easy to understand.
Yes. That one really, like I said, this is probably one of the easiest layering stamps that I've ever used.
Which is great to know because, you know, techniques, getting out of your technique comfort zone can intimidate you a little bit. But when you know that it's pretty foolproof.
Yeah.
It makes it a little easier.
Helps a lot.
So, friends, tonight, of course, we're going to ask the same array of questions as we continue with our episode called Living in the Gray. And all of the questions have something to do with monochromatic or black and white or gray. So I'm excited about tonight's 5 questions. We'll get to our first one in a few minutes, but I didn't want to get behind. So I'm going to move over to Metropolis, right?
Yes. Or actually, for the stems, skip up to licorice.
Okay.
So you want the darker color on that one to show through. I just found it's easier to line up the stems first than the leaves, but you can do them in either order.
Okay. All right. So we're doing a little licorice for our stems.
Yeah. And then again, every time I stamp there, I've got a piece of paper behind that I'm doing my practice stamp on before I stamp on my die cut piece. So if it looks like I'm stamping twice, that's why. Amanda is asking what kind of flower it is. And I don't know. It looks a little like, to me, maybe a peony, or it's an artistic flower.
Well, Mr. Lindberg messed up.
Tulip shape, but not specific.
All right, friends. That's why I'm the student. I messed up. I did not align that correctly.
Oops. And that's where the practice one back behind, like I said, if it's something you haven't done a lot, that's a great kind of foolproof way. And then I can't show you very well here because I just practiced with this earlier today, but if it doesn't line up, what you can do is you leave that bottom one in place and you move the top one until it aligns.
Okay.
And then you put your die cut in there, and not only was it a practice one, but now you know when you put your die cut in, it will be perfectly aligned, if that makes sense.
Yes. But as we know, Mr. Jeff does one after the show to make it look like he knew what he was doing.
But you know what's great? I bet when you stamp the leaves on, it probably won't even look like it's that far unaligned. It'll just have that nice artistic. And then, since I stamped that on that background one, I have a whole nother one, not die cut, but I can die cut that if I want, or just use that background as something else. So if it works on that background, you don't even have to throw that away. It's not even a complete waste. So
there's that Heather with the pro tips. She's getting value out of the stamp set. All right. And sadly we were just talking about how foolproof it was, but I will tell you that again, the leaves, however, matched up so nicely that there's no way that's wrong. And what I'm hoping for here, friends, is exactly what Heather just talked about, which is that I could be lucky in the fact that the darker leaves, or not the darker, but the leaves will not even let these sketches come through. So let's hope. And a friendly reminder is that Leah moderates the comments, so I can't see them until I turn back to my facing camera, but I hear all of you just typing along. We love it. Please keep those comments coming, and I will engage with you all in just a second. I just want to catch up with Miss Heather so we don't slow down the show. Because believe it or not, it's already 7:20.
No, and really, we've probably done the most intricate part of this whole thing, so.
I got to tell you, even though I did mess up on the stems, this technique is just so up my alley. The elegance of it and the fun you could even have with adding in a silver emboss, so it didn't turn out that bad. You can't, it's so funny though, Heather. My little stamps look like I use mint green. At least
it's just got to be a lighting thing.
Yeah. But I promise, friends, the mint green would look delicious, but we are doing a monochromatic show, I promise. All right, let's pull the camera back to me. We're going to keep the desktop on Heather so she can keep trucking along. As you can see, she's moving on to her background. But we got to get a question in here tonight. Question number 1 specifically. First of all, don't forget that we play these questions, but you should too. Make sure that you answer. You'll see that Leah participates at home base, and then, of course, Heather and myself play along as well. So let's start with question number 1, shall we? Question number 1 is, do you have a favorite black and white movie or television show that you have a sentimental connection to? What would it be? I'll take this one first. I think that I lost a little bit of the heyday of Hollywood, but working as one of my first theme parks, Disney's Hollywood Studios, or at the time Disney MGM Studios, I fell in love with old Hollywood. But as a child, I was often babysat by the amazing television shows like the Dick Van Dyke Show, which still has such appeal to me. I Love Lucy, and of course, The Little Rascals. I hope that you all have memories of great television like that, because that's where television was definitely in its heyday. How about you, Miss Heather? Do you have a favorite black and white television or movie memory?
So those ones I grew up on watching a lot of the oldies, and so I did love all of those. The first one that came to mind when you asked, though, for me was It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh,
we always used to watch that at Christmas time, and the black and white version is, you can watch the color one, but I still kind of love the black and white better. It just seems like it fits it better.
Sure. So let's see what everybody says as we watch Heather get her cling stamp. Remember, we're going to remove the mouse pad for that particular one.
Yes, and then because the background stamp's bigger than my card base, because I'm just using my card base, I like to kind of set it in place and then use just some removable tape on the inside to hold it in place. Since if you put your magnets, you're going to lose part of your background, which isn't very fun.
Right.
I'm using Rocky Slope there.
Let's put some comments up on the board. We have a lot of Andy Griffith Show, which is awesome, from Jeannie. Bertie Ward says that Little Foxes and Gaslight were 2 of her favorites. My Three Sons, so good. Dennis the Menace, yes, that's so good as well. These are such great memories. Of course, Diane loves Casablanca. Holly remembers I Dream of Jeannie and the Beverly Hillbillies, which of course had I Dream of Jeannie moving over to color eventually, which is fantastic. I Love Lucy and Perry Mason shows, now with a reboot. I love. Christy loves Andy Griffith as well, which is awesome. That's so fantastic. Gosh, I love finding out so much about you all. That's awesome. All right, so as you can see, I removed the mouse pad for myself, and I am taking some sticky tape, centering my background centered as well, so that I can use the rubber cling stamps that we need. I'm going to use diamond tiles as well, because Leah knows that I'm a fan of this one. We tried to use it in another episode, and we haven't, so I thought tonight I would use it. But there's so many options. You can go even more modern, or you can go more homespun fun. I don't know. More plaid, more tartan.
Mm-hmm.
What color do we think is best for that, my friend? Which one did you use?
I did Rocky Slope, the second darkest. I wanted to keep it fairly soft, but I wanted to make sure it would show up. Awesome. And as always, it'll you can see it'll soften. I don't know if you can see the difference between the one I made earlier and just now, and the little bit of softness that it's gonna get there.
Ruth Ann Boyd says that she loves this background. And Kathy asked if we remember the show My Mother the Car. It was in black and white. I remember it. Nick at Night and Nickelodeon helped me, but I'm at a good age where I've seen a lot. So, Megan, I'm so glad you enjoyed your gift card last week, and I'm glad you got some more inks. That's great. Megan, of course, had our comment giveaway last week, and she is proof that you can go have a shopping fun thanks to the team at Pink Fresh. What you got there, Miss Heather? What are you telling us about the frame?
So when I first did this morning, I was just going to put it right on the background. I kind of put it on there and thought, it looks a little busy, and it felt like it got lost a little bit. So one thing I do, I use this ornate oval frame a lot, and it also cuts this great oval in the middle. And I quite often don't use those. So I always just stuff them in the back of my sleeve and save them. And so I pulled one of those out, and it was just the perfect size to kind of spotlight that a little bit in the center and pop it up off the background.
Another great tip, waste not, want not. We all have a scrap drawer, so why not take some of those die cuts and use and keep them? It'll save you some time later, right?
Yep.
So teacher allowed me to not do that because it was a non-necessity, so you don't see me doing that, which is why Heather jumped ahead for a second. Since we're trekking along, Miss Heather, I'm going to pause and take another question really quick because it looks like we are rocking this one tonight.
I know.
Which is good. Which is good, good. Again, friends, I hope that you're having fun. You're watching the Craft Hour with Pink Fresh. My guest designer is Heather Hoffman doing one of my favorite techniques. Tonight's episode is called Living in the Gray. And we are having a blast with tone-on-tone monochromatic color, grayscale, if you will. There's all kinds of ways to describe this technique. It's very fun and very simple. All right, so our question number 2 today. Are you into Oreos? And if so, what kind? I have to be sensitive here because not everybody can enjoy Oreos, right? But I have to say my favorite Oreos are double stuff, but the originals. I also don't need to get into the dips and the alien and the Mardi Gras flavors and maybe the vanilla cream. I can do a little vanilla cream, but let's just keep to the original. A little bit of milk, we're good to go. How about you all? Are you an Oreo fan? So Miss Heather and I were rehearsing and I found out, tell me.
But I've never been a frosting fan anyway, so
you're not.
Okay. I would have been reverse, and then I don't like milk either, so just straight and plain.
Okay, got it. So we're getting out our, because one of our friends, my girlfriend Heather, you're also my girlfriend. My girlfriend Laura tells us that dimension is life. And so, hey, I got to show you something that I pulled out from the archives. I wish it was a black and white photo. But look at this photo. Heather, I'll show it to you on your Skype camera.
Okay.
We have 2 different cameras when we do this show. So Heather watches through another show camera. But look at this. This was at Creativation this year. Look at all my favorite Pink Fresh and Lawn Fawn fans. So for those of you who know, that's, of course, Leah, my girlfriend who is probably making a pass at me, Miss Laura Fedora. We all love her. Of course, the owners of Lawn Fawn, Kelly, who just had a little baby, Kennery, the proud CEO and owner of Pink Fresh Studios, and of course, my date for the evening, Heather Hoffman. We had a great, little did we know that the world was going to change in a couple of months and that we would.
Right.
That was my last travel. Was it your last travel?
My last travel was after that. It was at Disney World was my last travel.
Oh, that's right.
The end of February.
Which, in case you're all wondering, she's still in trouble because she didn't tell me that she was coming.
Well, you probably will be grateful because I ended up with the flu and stuck in the hotel while my kids enjoyed it. So.
Oh no, I don't know this story.
Probably. Oh goodness. Yeah, we got there and it was right at the beginning when we were just starting to hear about COVID stuff, and I didn't really think anything of it because the first day I usually get, dry throat traveling and stuff. So the first day I had a little bit of a tickly cough, and we did Hollywood Studios, no big deal. Second day, I was just more tired and had more of a cough, and we were at Epcot that day. And by the end of the day, I was going, I'm feeling pretty crummy. And I got up the next day and thought, I'm gonna power through for my kids. It's just a cold. And we tried to do Animal Kingdom. I ended up just going to the first aid booth, and they took my temp, and they're like, no, you don't have a fever, but here, go ahead and lay down. So my kids played around, and by that evening, I was so miserable. We went into the ER, and I tested positive for influenza A. So we stayed longer than planned. Only I spent the time in the hotel room, and fortunately, my girls were old enough to go do Magic Kingdom on their own. So
Sure.
so it's probably good that you didn't know I was there, because you wouldn't have
Yeah.
wanted to see me.
But you deserve a redo. My goodness.
I know. I
Well,
had been the year before, my husband and I went, and we did Epcot and Magic Kingdom, just the two of us. And this year, my kids were like, all right, you got to take us. So at least the one I missed was the one that I had been to. So that made me feel better.
so as we move over to tonight's sentiment, tell me a little bit about our friends at scrapbook.com. We have a great relationship with them. They're so kind, and of course, they carry Pink Fresh products.
Yes.
Is this the first time that we've done something exclusive for them?
No, I know there's been some other ones, and they've always been really popular. And I don't know, I haven't looked to see.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And that's, I think, the best thing we saw. Of course, Shannon did multiple colors in a rainbow. She did Celebrate, which was fantastic. And what I love about these is that they kind of meet the moment for both scrapbookers as well as with card makers. Sort of a perfect blend. Megan, I'm so glad that you ordered the set. That's awesome. Again, I love that it almost is another phrase builder. You can create beautiful um, oh, we've lost our audio on. That was my fault, everyone.
Oh,
Um, that was they heard me, they did not hear you. So uh, this she said amazing things about each of you. She wanted to know how fantastic the studio audience was. That's what she was talking about.
yes.
All right, so hold your card up, my dear friend, and let's see how
All right.
far you've gotten there, which is
I just
great.
stuck this down over my oval there with double layers. So foam on the oval and foam on this, because, as
Dimension
Laura
is
says,
life. We've learned dimension is life, right?
yes.
Awesome. Well, let me get my desktop back up, and we are going to catch up to you. I too have taken the time to add some foam tape to the back of these. As you all have heard, am not going to do the frame on top of it. Although, as you can see, that is not a really bad idea. However, if I'm to make this card again, I probably will change that. Heather, will you take your card up closer one more time? What we love there
Yes.
is, do you see how the white space that she has in the frame offsets and gives two very distinct areas between the flower that she created and then, of course, the background. And again, the technique or the tip that she had there was that she had already cut that out a long time ago. She saved it, and when she was in prepare mode for class tonight, she just took a moment and used it.
Yeah. Okay. Let you get your foam adhesive off. And then I did die cut this in advance. I just pulled it out of the, but one little thing here with these scripty words, they're so small and thin that it can be a little tricky to get them adhered. So one option that I've done a lot is like a glue pen,
Okay.
that, or a more detailed one. And quite often, like what I did on this card, I actually am just using a fine tip. I have a Gina K one. This one's a Lawn Fawn one. Oops, got a little soap bubble there. But I just put a soap bubble, a glue bubble. I know what I'm saying. I just put a tiny, tiny little dab on just the kind of the corner sections where things meet. And that right there is enough to hold it down and kind of leave the rest free floating. So I found that's an easy way, just especially when it's layered over something like this with so many different layers already. It's
Right.
just enough to touch and kind of hold it needs to be.
She is a delicate one, but I think in the delicateness of it, it makes the elegance kind of that much better. Megan is already sharing that this card is so soothing, and it does just have a beautiful elegance about it, which is great. So I chose wishes as my word, and I have, as Laura Fedora likes to remind us, I have a tittle I need to worry about. Don't we
Yes, I do
all?
too.
Do you? Oh, you had smiles, so you did as well. Do you have any
I
tips?
did,
Do you have
yes.
any tips on that when you have something as small, even in the most chunky of sentiment, tittles can get kind of small. What have you learned over the years? Do you have a thought about that? It
So
sounds like I'm making a funny, but I'm really not. I do want to find out.
no. So there's a couple things. Some people have pointed out they'll just use a little black pen to put that dot on there.
Oh,
So
touche.
that's one
Yep.
option. You can sub it in with a jewel or a crystal or something like that if you don't want to mess with that little bit. Um, Generally, what I do is I put a tiny dot of glue, and then I actually use my little jewel picker. This is the Crystal Katana or the Studio Katia embellishment tool. I'll use one of those to pick it up and just set it on that dot of glue. So there's a few different ways, but I lose those more often than not and have to come up with something else anyway.
Sure, sure, totally.
But
So, as you all know, I tend to do a frame border, so I'm going to be adding some gray cardstock. I'll kind of give you a hint as to what it will look like after I'm done, to add just a little more dimension. This is from our friends over at Concord and Ninth and their color collection. But what I'm doing there is going to give you just a little bit of frame, and then that wishes is going to place right on top of it. So you're getting some jewels. Tell me about how you want to embellish it today.
yes, these are actually, and this is a color I haven't used a lot, so I was kind of excited at how perfect these worked for this. These are actually the crystals, so they're not the flat back ones,
Okay.
but they're translucent. They're a little pointy, but since I have so much dimension on here, and I'm putting them on the bottom, they're going to be under the level of the foam adhesive anyway, so they're not going to get in the way of anything. So I kind of went for that. And
Yeah.
I'll just kind of do this sort of flatter back. It's still a little faceted and raised, but it's a little flatter, and that'll adhere onto the card.
All right. I am going to put some weight on my wishes. And I'm going to ask another question while we can. As you can see, Miss Heather is taking a minute to apply some embellishments. Let me give you a close-up of her working away there. And as you all saw, Heather used her card base as the top folding card, so she's all set with hers. So it will pretty much be plug and play from here, and then of course liquid adhesives. All right, moving on to question number 3 of the evening. Are you comfortable living in the gray, or do you need concrete black and white? What do you think? Do you have the ability to live? I would say, well, it's your turn to go first, Miss Heather. Miss Heather, are you able to live in the gray, or do you need a little bit of black and white? Did I lose you?
Nope. Oh, were you asking me? Sorry, you
Yes,
cut out for a
yes.
second, so I thought you were going to answer. I was waiting for yours. I don't know. I think I tend to be a little bit more black and white, but
Okay.
that's maybe the fact that I'm not sure means maybe I do live in the gray more. I don't know.
Thank you all, by the way, for your nice comments about the show. I'm glad that y'all are having fun. What would I say? I would say that I definitely need a little more black and white, because at my work life, I live in the gray, because when you're in the hospitality industry, anything can go awry, and it's hard to have stern rules. So I'm more working in the gray and living in the black and white. So that's at least my answer. Let's look at some of your answers. Megan says that she thinks that the gray is what makes life a little bit more interesting. And Vicky says as time goes on, she's using a little bit more gray in her life. She's slowing back. She's like, you know what? Why worry about a bunch of stuff? Holly says she sometimes needs a little bit of black and white, but she would love to live in the gray a little bit more. And Karen already wants to make this tomorrow, which is good. And Leah has learned that she needs to live in all the shades of gray. She doesn't need to be bound by all the black and white. Kelly says gray, but a little black and white is what helps sometime, which is good. I love all of you saying that you're comfortable in the gray too. I think that's what we all kind of need right now. Aver says, I think that we'd be in trouble if we needed more black and white. Everything is gray. I agree. Miss Heather, I think we should show off that card just a little bit more. Let me put dual desktop up for just a second.
All right.
She's such a pro with these that she is done. She's like, and done. If we were in a time challenge, she would have a beautiful card. Meanwhile, I'm chasing a Tittledine.
Well, I did do. I got to keep moving so we don't run out of time. So
right,
kind of than I thought.
Did we run out of time last time? I forgot. What did we do last time?
I don't think we did. I feel like I have to keep moving so much on mine that I'm worried about running out of time. So
yeah.
And then I add chatting like this, and I'm more afraid I'm going to be slow and run out of time. So
you can tell that Heather lands the plane. She knows how to land the plane on time. It must be like she hosts her own live show every week. All right. If you want to,
a while.
Yeah. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and pull you on mute, and then we can go back to your front facing. We can talk to the audience. We're 20 minutes. We got a lot. We were done fast tonight, friends. So why don't you go to your other camera angle, and I will come back to you in a second. Sound good?
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Let's keep looking at your comments, everybody. It looks like everyone loves enjoying kind of being loosey-goosey in the gray. And I think that's a good way to lead life. Again, like I said, right now, Sen says right now, gray all the way. I love that. And JJ Wools, I agree. This is a pretty great stamp set, which is awesome. All right, let's move on to our next question of the evening as Heather gets set up. Does your wardrobe look like a rainbow, or are you a monochromatic maven? What do you think? Are you in there for all the color? Our friend Heather tonight, Heather, we're going to put you back on camera if you're ready.
I'm ready.
You're in your monochromatics for the night in your brand new fancy pants outfit.
Tonight.
Yeah. What is your everyday wardrobe? And don't forget, I've got a picture here that I can check. I can make sure.
On my back, I kind of like a mix. I think overall, I probably tend to wear a lot of just neutrals.
Yeah.
But I like the really bright colors, but I just can't. I don't do it every day. I'm not as organized as, like, say, Susan Opal with her rainbow wardrobe, organized in rainbow order, but yes. I do like different colors. Yeah, see, that's a nice bright color one.
Yeah. If you know our friend Susan Opal from Simon Says Stamp, you can follow her on Instagram as well. And her bright red hair is not the only thing that is bright about her. She loves a lot of color, which is good. We have a lot of rainbow fans out there. Robin says that she used to be, but now she's added a lot more color. That's a good question for you, Miss Heather. When you come to your card designs, where are you finding your interest right now? Are you in a bright, festive mood during this global pandemic where we were kind of dealing with life, or have you found yourself in a different? What's your colors? What are you feeling right now?
Boy, I'm trying to think of what I've made. There's certain colors I know I gravitate to a lot. Kind of orangey, coral yellow. I love all those together. I've used those probably a lot in lives. Those are kind of happy colors. And then blues and teals and greens, I always love those. I kind of get bored just staying in one color combination. So I find myself on Pinterest a lot, just looking for different combinations and color schemes and variety and different. And then doing something totally different, like monochromatic like this. I like branching out and trying new things. And yeah, I guess I like variety.
Yeah, I agree. You missed, I don't know if you saw it because you weren't looking at your tablet, but you'll see it later. I think, I forgot who said it, but somebody goes, Heather does not mess around. She gets it done. I agree. Because she's used to doing these lives. She taught me well, and we've got a cute card. I'll go back to my desktop and we'll review what we used tonight. And then we'll ask our last question of the evening, which is awesome. So just to show you, we did monochromatic, tone on tone, or grayscale, whatever term you want to use. We definitely use the grays. Heather and I were talking about the fact that it does look a little minty, but actually this is definitely gray. It uses our four grayscales of Rocky Slope, Licorice, Metropolis, as well as Misty Coast, which makes it pretty easy for you. And we are using a brand new stamp set that was released in partnership with scrapbook.com, where we have made a special group of sentiments. And is there anything else in the collection? One more time, you said that you got a takeaway. There was two things.
Let me grab the I think I was muted at that moment, or the sound wasn't coming through. It was this little thank you die that was a freebie, kicking off a week of special freebies that they did. So I can't remember if it started yesterday or a day before. It was sometime over the weekend. So I don't know. I missed Leah's comment if it was sold out already. I think later they added in for purchase, but it was a free one sometime in the past couple days.
And yes, please ask questions of Heather too if you have them. Natasha asked that she loves your lives now that she's working from home. She can actually watch them on the internet and not the companies. So she was cheating, which is good. Please don't get in trouble. Our Pink Fresh Studio audience members are not going to get in trouble. I'm not going to have that. But we did have a question of where can they find the Facebook Lives? Are they stored anywhere?
They are all just posted down on the Facebook page if you go in the videos. I also, usually a week or two after the lives, I post all the cards on my blog with a direct link to the video. So if there's one specific card you want to watch the live for, you can always go click that link and find it. It just kind of keeps it archived for me so I can find the specific ones if I need to.
Got it.
So
besides your time of probably promoting stuff that we would like to showcase as brand new products, where do you get your inspiration every week? Do you just kind of wait till that day? Or are you thinking about it in advance?
It depends. I'm trying to get better about thinking in advance. Lately, the lives, the last few that we've done have been inspired by another design team member card. And that's what we're doing tomorrow. I actually have a Laura Basson card that is inspiring tomorrow's live. So I've almost, not officially, but it's kind of started to gravitate towards that for Tuesdays. And then we can just kind of twist up. Sometimes we'll use a different set or a little different technique or a different color. And then the others, a lot of times it's just Kinnery going, oh, hey, we have a lot of questions about this set. Can you use this set? Or when it's new releases, you know, of course, I'll try and use those on the lives for that day. Or so it all kind of depends. A lot of times I'm last minute, which Leah likes to plan ahead. So she's always like, do you have it yet? Do you have it yet? So I'm working on getting better and working ahead. This week, I've got all planned already as of Saturday. So that was way ahead of the game for normal.
Karen says she can't wait for tomorrow already. Lisa says, love Heather's work. It's been a fan for so many years. Lisa, that's so sweet. And we've got, of course, I loved the comment too. Natasha said that she's been on a rainbow truck, but now she's moving over to the monochrome because of tonight's, which is great. Pauline said, I missed the freebie. Sorry, but I forgot to finish my order. What is freebies come back around, or are they once and done? How does that work?
I think it was free until it went out of stock. And again, I haven't looked today to see if it's still in stock.
Awesome. Can I show everybody really quick? This is something I've been working on, my first slim line. That's what we referenced earlier in the show. I was inspired by my time with Ashley in last week's episode, where we took the Altenew and blended it in with my first slim line. So this is the sentiment that I'm working on, and I just can't wait. I've taken the time to do the tape, so we're going to finish this one later, but I just wanted to show you all what I was working on, because you can't not come to a craft hour and be inspired to do more, which is fantastic. And then of course I'll remake this guy a little bit later, although this one was looking pretty good, which is good. All right, let's ask our final question of the night, shall we? One last question, and then we will pick our craft commenter of the night, and then we have some more housekeeping that we just want to talk to you about, and then we'll send you on your way on this Monday night. What's the grayest weather, or maybe location, you've ever lived in or experienced? So what do you think? You can go first on this one. You ever live in a really grayish place?
I think if anyone knows I live in Washington State, hands down, I can say that I win on that one. So gray Washington State, and I know some people, like, it probably affects my husband more than me.
Mhm.
And some people have a hard time with it. I kind of don't mind the gray, cloudy, overcast, cozy days and being able to, snuggle up by the fire with a good book and a cup of tea. We
Right up
lived in
my
Wyoming for
alley.
a couple of years and it's almost always sunny there. So it was kind of a contrast there and coming back. And so most of the time I enjoy it. There's been 1 or 2 years where it's just like 2 months where you don't see the sun and you're just thinking, I just need a day of sun. I need to see the blue sky.
It's funny. I think that it is that classic. The grass is always grayer in this case, where I would
Yeah.
long for what you have. And then you're right.
Yes.
Sometimes you're so thirsty for the sun. Buffalo, New York, a lot of people are saying Rochester, New Carol says Rochester, New York, enough said. Trisha says Minnesota from November through April. Jeannie says the west side of Michigan. No, thank you. Holly agrees that the sideways rain found on the New River in West Virginia while whitewater crafting. And Leah says that she has lots of cozy days in Minnesota, but she loves them. We get plenty of sunshine too. So maybe it's the perfect balance of the two. Kelly went to a vacation in Ireland and she had a total of 15 minutes of sun over 7 days. She only saw the sun for that amount of time. Megan shares Battle Creek, Michigan, and Christy has always lived in Kansas, so she doesn't know anything different. All right, so this is my favorite part of the night. It's where Heather and I get to give you a $15 gift card to Pink Fresh Studio. It's chosen at random by our fancy computer named Leah. She takes a look at a fancy algorithm that carries a lot of ones. She has to show her long form math. She writes it all out, and then she picks a comment of a person who deserves the $15. So she's going to scan in her fancy algorithm, pull out her pencil. She sharpened it. She's got a calculator, and she's going to tell us who has won the gift card for the night. And in the meantime, I'm going to tell you that the grayest place I've ever been has been growing up in the Waterman's Village that I came from. It got pretty gray, and I think that's why I love it so much. All right, so let's do some housekeeping really quick. Heather, because you're fantastic and we have 8 minutes of keeping you on camera for just a few more minutes. And then, of course, if you have questions, feel free to ask both Heather and myself. First of all, we just want to remind you that the Craft Hour is going to move to a bi-weekly show, so twice a month. So next week, we're taking a little break. Yours truly has to get some beauty rest. I have to go through some procedures, some Botox implants. So I'm taking the week off, and I'll be back the next Monday. Of course, Leah, Heather, and I, and all of us at Pink Fresh Studio want to be back with you, so you can still catch us. I'm just changing my schedule just a little bit. But here's the deal. You help us make that decision. So if you could take the time to send some comments, put them down in the YouTube description of what you need to improve. What night works best for you? Maybe this time frame, 7 p.m. Eastern. That's crazy. You're trying to get the kids ready. You don't have time to stop making dinner to do this. We know that Heather, and then Heather is, of course, partnered with Leah, and we make great decisions on your behalf. So give us some feedback about what times work best for you. And maybe, just maybe, we might be cooking up a little surprise that involves one of my favorite girlfriends from Germany. So you never know. That's going to be super fun as well. But again, Leah and I read all the comments, so take the time to write us about what time or date would work best for you, any feedback about the show, and in 2 weeks, we'll be back and ready to do it. Miss Heather, two things. I know that you're ready for tomorrow's show, but where can they catch you on Instagram and other places?
Houses Built of Cards
Okay.
is kind of my tag name on Instagram, and it's also my blog name. If you Google that, just get the S on houses because it's more than one house. So that's kind of an easy way to find me.
That's awesome. And we're so excited. Amanda Panda. Amanda, you have come every week to the show, and we finally see that you are going to win $15. That's fantastic. Amanda,
Awesome.
you're so supportive to me on my Instagram at Mr. Jeff Lindberg, and you're such a Pink Fresh fan. So I love that you won tonight. That's so fantastic. So yeah, that's fantastic. Miss Heather, I had another great show with you, and it's clear that this is not your first rodeo, and I know we keep kidding about it tonight, but it really does make for a accessible card that makes people believe they can do it. And I love that the comments show that people are already interested in doing it because you pick products that show a bit of elegance and difficulty, but also it's easy and accessible. You're a natural at that. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. All right, my friend.
All right.
I will talk to you after the show and post show.
Okay.
Until then, thanks for another great show.
All right. Bye,
Ladies and
everybody.
gentlemen, that's
Thank
that's
you.
so awesome. Friends, it was a pleasure to spend some time with you all again tonight. I had a fantastic another show. It was great, and we did a little living in gray tonight. So, my friends, thanks for another week of Pink Fresh Studios Craft Hour. Don't forget that we'll be taking next week off, and we'll see you the week after that. If you don't already follow me on Instagram, I would love for you to join me at Mr. Jeff Lindberg. I connect with everybody and comment and connect. And also, we would love to have you connect with us. Again, we're looking for feedback about the show, what time works best for you, and what you would like to see on the show. And then again, Leah and I are dreaming up big surprises with all of our designers. Perhaps getting a new time can help you meet more of the Pink Fresh Studios team. But more importantly, talk about a team. You are an amazing Pink Fresh Studio audience. Thank you so much. Enjoy these 2 weeks off, and I'll see you then. All right? Thanks for another great craft hour. Enjoy your night. And again, thanks for joining. Bye, everybody.